Okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Just let me know whether it is visible to you. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. So today we'll discuss sources of teaching methods. So, as we have seen in the last class, that teachers should be, well acquainted with the variety of important principles which are drawn from education, also yogic disciplines, also the psychology of learning. It includes psychology of students and, of course, teacher also, and anatomy and physiology of a human body, a human structure. So, all these factors are important in order to formulate good teaching methods. So, first we'll see yogic principles. Now, yogic practices, as we all know, they are not simple exercises. As we understand the word exercise, the word exercise is generally applied to, a physical movement of your body, physical movement of your limbs, of your spine or trunk, or all those, or your neck portion or head portion. But yogic practices, including this, the physical movements, we have to, include our breathing pattern, and also our mental, uh, like mental body, you can say, or mental awareness, you can say, when you are doing a particular practice. So all three things go together. So since yogic practices, do not involve vigorous movements, we do some macro exercises or sthul kriya before beginning the main asana practices or pranayam practices. But they are just for, for few minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, or maximum 5 minutes, to just, raise your heartbeat or your cardiovascular system. But not all the movement includes the vigorous, practices. You can say asana, if you do a particular asana, you have to, make your body adaptable to that posture slowly and gradually. You can't force your body, so that the alignment will be proper. The asana has, impact on a particular organ or a particular system or particular muscle. So you have to feel that, and you have to hold that posture for a few seconds if your body allows. So not the vigorous movement, not the, forceful movement, or the stretchful or forceful, or very stressed manner, you never do yogic practice. So any kind of, this type of violent action be avoided during the yogic practices. And the nature of these practices vary, that involves, different mechanism through which the results of a particular practice can be obtained. We have a different, parts of practices, like asanas, pranayam, panmudras, kriyas, meditation, and this do not use the same channel, for bringing the result of the practice. So gradually you have to make your body adaptable to that particular practice. So asanas, we all know, it is one of the most important and best known practice. And they are, static stretching procedures. You have to strengthen your muscle, you have to open up your joints, and some pressure exert on a particular portion of your body, particular organ of your body when you do certain asanas. So they should be performed slowly and smoothly in order to influence that toning, of your muscles, strengthening of your joints, rather than, pushing them forcefully. Or the effort you if you do it regularly, the practices, at one time you should like feel, and mm, that the condition of, or your posture of your particular asan gets slowly improved. At a certain age you are easily, be in an asana for like few seconds or for a minute, and the strengthening of your body, the toning of your muscles, you will feel that when you started and when you are doing it regularly, and after a certain period of time, you feel that, the stretching, the freshness, and the effect of that asana on that organ, on that portion of your body. You will feel that. So you don't have to exert it. The your body will slowly adapt that posture, and the stretching of muscles, and the gradually you are easily go to the final posture, and you can maintain that posture, hold that posture for few seconds to a minute. So the position in a particular asana should be, comfortably maintained for some time with less effort. That is the beauty of asana. It should be effortless, and it comes uh, through the regular practice. One sutra of Maharishi Patanjali, he says in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, what was that? Anyone remembers?
Viram Sukhamasana.
Steram Sukhamasana.
No, 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 no. That is there. Ki the asana you should be, sthir and with very comfortably and happily you will be at that posture. But Dirgha Kali Narantaryam, that's a sutra.
Satyadhirkala Naivatarya
Pratu
Satkara
Dirgha Kala Nirantarya.
Correct. So that all those things you have to be in your mind, that it should be Dirgha Kal, means for a long time, and Nirantar, regular practice, and that makes you a perfect in that effort, in that. So at the end, that asana which you want to perform, which you want to do, it should be effortless. So that is the beauty of yogic practices. So effortless performance and relaxing at the same time. If it is effortless, it is relaxing as well. So this much, as much as possible during the final position, they are the chief characteristics of the technique of asanas. And the pranayamic practices are very different in purpose and technique from the breathing exercises. It's not a simple breathing exercises, because simple breathing you can do if you are doing some work. You can take deep breath, deep inhalation and exhalation. It's all that, but it is somewhat more than the breathing exercise, because they are supposed to, increase the oxygen intake with awareness. If you do anything with awareness, it has a great impact of whatever you are doing. If whether it is a simple breathing practice, or some physical movement, or any other work you are doing in your daily routine. um, it may be brushing your teeth. If you are doing it consciously, with full awareness, whatever you are doing, it has a great impact, and you will get a better result. So they are considered of a little value in the literature of physical education, that breathing practices, they just focus on your physical postures or physical movements. Okay. And yogic practice should not lead to undue fatigue, because it is done very in a particular manner, taking breathing into consideration. So the fatigue is, it's not like your body will not get too much tired if you are doing it all the practices as per the instructions of yogic practices. And at the same time, if you go to the gym and you do the cardio thing, and then the lifting of weights and all, you feel tired after say half an hour or 1 hour. But if you do yogic practices from 1 hour to 1.5 hours, as per the instructions, you will never feel tired at the end of the session. You will feel fresh, you will feel energetic, because you start with a prayer, then you start with some loosening practices, then you proceed to asanas, then after asanas you do some pranayam practices, or like for few minutes meditation. So you'll feel very fresh, very energetic. So that is the difference. So if there is a fatigue, it should be overcome by the practice of relaxation. We do shavasanas after doing asanas. So that is the relaxative posture. So we'll finish with shavasana, then we proceed to like pranayama, and then other practices, which are cooling practices, which gives, which increases the energy level, the prana shakti in our body. So all yogic practices should be performed according to one's own capacity, and it should be remembered that you don't have any competition with others. Okay, you just listen to your body and do as much as your body allows. So all the practices should lead to peace of mind, not the exertion or stress in your mind. So any yogic routine should begin with, psychophysical relaxation, centering one's attention as one would in prayer or actual recitation of some prayers. We all do it when we begin our session, whether it is theory session or whether it is a practical session. Then the second is psychological principles. Now, interest is the best motivation for learning. So whatever you learn, whether in any field, if you are having an interest, you do better, you perform better. That thirst of learning is there in your uh, mind. So the teacher should teach in such a way that the student maintain their strength, interest, and also he or she should motivate the teacher, the students to learn more. So activity is necessary, of course. All theory is not the best way to deliver whatever a teacher has to deliver to the students. So activity is necessary for learning. So learning is a process of experience. It's not that you should do always the 100% right thing, always say or reply the correct thing. It doesn't require, like if you say if you are doing something to learn, and if you get failed, or you will get less marks in some examination, that doesn't mean that is the to get depressed, or to feel low. There is always a chance to improve yourself. So learning is like, you can say it is a process of experience. So whenever you get less marks or something like that, so you should evaluate yourself and then move forward. So and there are so many activities to learn, with the teacher, with the classmates. And then the practice is essential. You have to practice, practice, practice. Practice makes a man perfect, as we all know. So especially for motor learning or skill learning, where your body is also plays an important role. So again, it is not mere practice, but the correct practice that is important. So your motor nerves, your sensory nerves, all involves in this method of learning, and more repetition, more and more practice, and that should be in a correct manner. So all learning has a neural base, nervous system based. So unless the proper neuromuscular coordination is formed, one cannot expect the development in any skill. So you must have the coordination of your nervous system and your muscular system, also your skeleton system, your respiratory system. So all systems involved when you do a particular practice. So for efficient learning, the material to be learned must be within the range of experiences and abilities of the learner. Learner should have that thirst, and then only he'll get the complete knowledge or complete education, you can say. So learning is highly individualized and results in a progressive changes in behavior of a student, because in a class there are so many students and there is a one teacher, and he or she teaches the same thing to all, but the grasping power, the thirst, the interest of a particular student uh, gets it ahead of all other classmates. So that thirst, that interest, and that hard work plays an important role. So the ability to learn depends upon the intake capacity and the previous experiences of the student, and all individuals do not learn at the same rate. So learning of motor skill, if the performer is able to grasp an intellectual understanding of the nature of that task before beginning the practice. So first you have to prepare yourself. The student should prepare himself or herself, and if that thirst of learning is there in a particular student, then only he can understand whatever the teacher wants to say. So the regular practice of an activity results in a pleasure and satisfaction, because if you are doing it regularly, you will moving ahead. You can observe for yourself, your body listen to you, and it is responding in a similar manner. So if you see yourself in a higher stages, at higher level, you will feel um, good, you will be happy, satisfied. So that also contributes to the effective learning. So occasional short periods of rest between the practice, it should give you superior result, because body needs some rest in between, and that's why we do shavasana. All the practices, all the asanas should end with a relaxative posture. So brief rest period prevents fatigue in a muscle, and it the muscle gets time to rejuvenate, and the efficiency of that muscle will not decrease, but it gets increased if you uh, stretch the muscles and then give some time to relax. Then anatomophysiological principles. So we as a human have anatomy, our body parts, our this system of our different organs, and physiological, whatever functions they perform, whatever work they have. So all these things will cover in this principle, and age and sex are the two important factors determining this principle. Anatomical physiological condition, which need to be considered in the teaching learning conditions when we do practices. So there are differences, anatomical differences, physiological differences in between the male and a female. So one of the main difference to be taken into account is structure. Both have different structures. So physically, it is said that women are somewhat have less stamina, or their body type is like not that stubborn or strong as the man has. So this means that you must have learned in biology or anatomy. You have must have in that subject. Both have somewhat difference in the sizes of uh, the heart or lung capacity, and then the bones, the calcium intake, and there are some differences, the amount of blood they both have. So these bones and ankles and their joints are not as strong, and their bodies have more fatty tissues um, in female. So the male body is composed of say 41.8% of the body weight of the muscles, while the female body has 35.8%. So the distribution of fatty tissues is 18.2% of body weight in males, whether in females it is 28.2%. So that gives men more muscular strength than women. So the muscle strength is proportional to the amount of fat to the muscle tissues. So more fat, so there is obviously less efficiency, less efficient the muscles are. So reduction in fat therefore contributes to building of muscle strength. So and also the abdominal wall can also be weaker in women from a mechanical point of view. So women's abdominal organ are not firmly situated, and the abdominal tone is often lost during through the childbirth, or some maybe miscarriages or any other reproductive problems. So there are differences also in proportion of the different segments of spinal column and a lumbar region, so which affects the performance of physical movements. So the shorter lumbar and thoracic regions in females sometimes produce more pronounced shortening of lower back muscles. That's why they have more back pain. Um and then it results to lordosis, or lumbosacral angle is also different. So that makes somewhat difference between the two. Again, this covers the same thing, the tone of muscles, and considerably extend the portion and functions of the bodily organ of the individual. So muscle tone is a sort of sustained contraction of muscle fiber. So this if you stretch, you have to give the relaxation. If you tense a particular muscle, so to increase the toning, you have to relax it at the same time, and it is accompanied by increased awareness of the entire body. So that's why when we do any asana or any practice, so we'll mention, the teacher mentions the key, pay your awareness to that part, pay your awareness to that muscle or that joint. So one become aware of that undue tensions in the body and learns to relax more and more when one is attempting to regain proper tone. So that in that manner, the equilibrium, established, and the circulation, neuroglandular activity will be balanced. So that way, all these things happen.
So, ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, this muscle rate which you said about for male and female, so
Hmm.
this will also be included when we are calculating a BMI of a particular person, no? and that BMI would be as per the Indian medical standards, or because earlier we used to consider the American standard of, but now since yoga, we know the Indian body structure and their climate is different.
Mm-hmm.
So this is according to Indian medical standard, no? The whatever percentage you say.
No, no, this is the general biological statics.
Okay.
It's not about Indian or foreigner or something like that. It's a general body, type. But yes, that BMI or the BP, the standards are, changing. Some earlier it was said it is the right way. Then nowadays, somewhat increased figure is to considered normal. And then as the age, grows, so your age also makes a difference in a particular whether it is a BP or your sugar level or
Mm.
oxygen level, the lung capacity. That depends on your age also. So
Thank you.
it's a general figure. You must consider ki as there is a difference. That's it. Because if you go to sports, in the field of sports, so there
Yes.
are a different criteria for male and female.
Mm-hmm.
The whether it is a tennis or some other game, they are having different like for female there are time span is somewhat less, for male it is more. So different criteria, just because they are having a different body type, different stamina, different muscle tone or fat contained, and they consider so many things. So that's why. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So this is all about the same thing, I think, and there should be, but you have the main thing is you have to maintain the equilibrium of the body. That means your all the organs should not get extra stretched or extra tensed when you do a certain practice. You have to make, equilibrium, or you can say the balance between your body, your mental state, and your breathing, your respiratory system, so and your heart also. Okay, because when you do any movement or any kriya or any practice, not only your physical body but your all the internal organs, they get affected by that practice. So you have to make balance at the end. You have to settle down all these things, like your breathing, your heart rate. Okay, so that and between your muscles also, muscle and all the systems of your body, because that is the main aim of yogic practice, no? To make the balance between all the systems of your body. And if your physical structure, your physiology and anatomy is at equilibrium position, balanced position, then only you can think of higher practices, right? Like your the aim is what, just to make the oneness of individual soul to the supreme soul. That is the connection, to make the connection. So first you have to make balance within your physical body, then the mental level and emotional level and other higher levels. So that is the proper functioning of a semi, the internal organs and your external environment. So that is the coordination, the balance. So minimum expenditure of energy is, the criteria of simplicity and efficiency in any activity. This is a very important thing. You have to, expend less energy and gain uh, more from doing that thing. So vigorous movements consume more energy. while static activities with a particular, a gradual manner, you can say slow and static and steady movements, consume less energy but gives more benefit. So the theory and practice of warming up needs consideration when one engages in vigorous, dynamic, or jerky activities. You never find a jerky movements or activity in yogic practices, right? So the center of gravity in female bodies, this is again a very important thing. The center of gravity in female bodies is lower than in males. Why? Because the height difference, the skeleton of the body is different for male and female. The organs are different in males and females. So because of that, all the practices when you do, so this point should be taken into consideration, when we do practices involving stability and balance. Then the next principle is educational principles. Now, what is educational principles? It depends upon, educating. Educating means how you gain the information or knowledge. So this learning also depends upon the impressions received by the necessary receptors. How much information you are getting, how much your senses are strong and they are, focused or concentrated towards the teacher. So that plays an important role in learning. Therefore, the presentation of a specific practice of skill should involve as many senses as possible to perform an adequate image of the practice. The most important cues in practice come from the audio visual aids, like whatever you listen, whatever you see, that plays an important role. That's why we say, no, ki eyes, drishti. Drishti is more important. First you see or hear, then the other senses get involved. And then the motor learning is perceptual, cognitive, rational, and then the thoughts came into picture. So it involves mental as well as physical aspects of learning. And there are individual differences, as we have seen earlier. It depends upon individual how much he or she can receive the same knowledge given to all the students, and your respond also will be uh, affected. So visual demonstration of the practice is one of the most effective ways to enhance the learning of a motor skill, because learning, listening, viewing, so apart from all those way of learning, that visual demonstration is more effective as compared to listening the thing. So it enhances uh, the learning of a student. So the learning is, if the student is able to grasp and intellectual understanding of the nature of the task before the beginning of the practice, it is given sometimes to integrate the initial cues from observing the demonstration and listening to the instructions. Like first you give the instructions, then you give the demonstration, and then you can say students to follow with your instructions, and there you see if a few of the students can do or repeat whatever you have shown, but many of the students, they didn't get uh, when they just saw once your demonstration. So you have to demonstrate again and again. Or you can choose one student from the class who is doing very well. So just give instructions and allow the student to show the demonstration of that student, and then follow as he or she is doing. So the instruction should be, it should be clear in description, of that particular activity. So repeated demonstration and instructions will, gives better results. So here it is the same point as we already discussed. And also one important thing, you should not, you never discourage any student if he or she is unable to, follow your instructions or couldn't get the demonstration as well. You should, the student should be, instructed in a positive way of performing this activity rather than, being informed initially what to avoid. And best performances comes when individuals are informed clearly, properly, and you should pay attention to those students who are weaker and they may not getting what a teacher is saying, what to do, what to avoid. So the instructions are very much clear, and you have to repeat it again and again if some of the students are not able to follow at the same time. So this helps in learning the activity, and also it eliminates the possible errors and increases their positive aspects, as ease and comfort, and their efficiency also get increased. The level of tension they have get lower down. So that way, the class should be governed by a teacher. And adequate time should be allotted for actual practice, without which learning cannot be effective. It cannot be very fast. No, because each and every topic should, be taught in a in a manner that they that student are able to follow whatever you want to deliver to them. So the practice period should be, divided into, informal practice, then supervised practice in a group. So that way, that level of learning can be enhanced or improved. And then the principle of progression is vital to learning. It means the performance of any activity will be from simple to complex. Means first the simple thing, um, and then you have to, grow in a uh, regular or a gradual manner to the complex practices. Because in first few classes, if you want a student should perform like Sarvangasan or Halasan perfectly, or Shirsasan, or standing Chakrasan. So it will be very difficult for them. So gradually you have to make practices in such a manner, or design the practice in such a manner that the flexibility of students will be such in a particular direction, so that after few months they are able to perform these complex asanas or advanced asanas. So you have to go from known to unknown, from simple to complex. So this is also required, to body, to mind, to adapt it in a particular manner. And this complex asanas will become a simpler one day. So the learning of coordinated movement pattern is dependent upon the possession of sufficient amount of fundamental physical activities. So fundamental physical activities involves your muscles, flexibility, and you can say the balance between your cardio system, your respiratory system. So the relationship you cannot ignore, because all body systems are anyhow they interdependent upon each other, and the functioning of one system will impact the functioning of other systems in a direct or indirect way. So this relationship is kept in mind. So the whole program of activity should be planned and conducted in the light of this principle of progression. Okay, now this progressive part method is often used, and what it does, first part is to learn, okay, and it is paired with the second part, and the two practice together. That means you give you have to first analyze what is the purpose, and accordingly design your lecture, and then uh, you have to plan in what manner you have to design that lecture or that particular yogic practice, so that the student will be perform with ease and comfortable, and their strength and their flexibility will be increased in a gradual manner, not immaturely it is done. So method of presentation maybe means formal instructions or informal suggestion, but the fundamental basis of all the method is nature and need of the student, because we are in a student-centered education system. We are following that, including their individual and group characteristics. See what type of group you are making. um, all right. So all those things you have to keep in mind. First, the need, the nature of student, the environment of the class you have to make. So the nature of educational objectives and the type of activities used in the program also dictate the choice of the methods. So this is one or the other thing which we have discussed now. And now the sociological principles. Sociological principles include utility value. Now, what is utility value? The idea of utility need not, utility, it doesn't mean it, it is misinterpreted, you can say, by, the finances or the salary or whatever you are getting as a teacher. So many of the activities and experiences are of real practical use in your real you can say uh, in a real life which you are leading, whether it is your family life or social life or professional life. So this principle includes that sociological principles which lead a person to lead his or her life in a happy and progressive manner with with harmony. So that is the main aim of an individual, I think, um, to live a life happily, and to lead a prosperous is there, happiness is there, harmony should be there. So all those it's a complete package if you are a yogic practitioner, okay, and successfully that are not of any immediate vocational significance. You have done some training for some time, and then your becomes a garden of flowers. It's not. You have to to make that garden full of flowers, you have to cultivate them, you have to make some effort to grow flowers. You have to take care of those plants which gives you fruits or flowers. So that means you should be in a practice on a regular basis. So yogic practices may not be necessary to be a vocational value, but they are certainly of immediate practical use for a person of any age or any sex in maintaining good health and physical fitness together with the happiness in life. Physical fitness, mental fitness, emotional strength, and all these, it's a complete package. So yoga is not a, you can say, a part or a exercise or a simple thing, but it has a great impact on every aspect of your of your body. And at body, your body or your human body doesn't mean your physical structure. You have learned that 5 koshas, so it impacts all the 5 koshas. And what is the highest kosha? What is the
Anand. Anand.
my coach? Yes. So if you uh, mm, pay attention to your lowest coach, that is the Annamay coach, then Pranamay, then again Manomay and Vijnanamay, then again it leads to what? Anandamay. That is everyone wants Anand. So for Anand, you lead a life as a yogic practitioner, and that is what the aim of, that should be the aim of our life. So I think that's all for today. Anything you want to ask, you can ask.
Thank you, ma'am. Pretty clear.
Okay. So we'll stop here today's session.